One night, she sat in her room, tears streaming down her face. When Uche asked her what was wrong, Ebena said, "This was not the life you promised me. Ever since you married me, I have been suffering. A woman like me should be whining and dining with the rich people. Look at us. We can even go near the trader who sells at the village market. See the clothes I am wearing." Ebina remembered the night she went to bed without food because Uche had come home late and tired and couldn't cook. The days she avoided her friends because their husbands had cars, iPhones, and good housed. She was tired of managing shame, tired of wearing patience like a second skin. "I am tired of managing poverty," she said at last. "Love is not enough when there is nothing to eat." Uche reached for her hand, but stopped halfway, as though afraid his touch would remind her of everything she was running from. "Things will change," he pleaded. "Just give me time." She laughed a short, broken laugh that surprised even her. "Time?" she asked. "Time has already finished me." She lifted her face and said, "Ever since we got married, my life has become a laughingstock." Uche pressed his forehead to the wall, his shoulders shaking. "Stay," he begged. "Even if you don't love me anymore, stay." Ebena's chest tightened. For a second, she remembered the boy who used to walk her home, the man who shared his last meal with her, the husband who never raised his hand or voice. But she had already made up her mind. She had found love elsewhere. "I deserve more," she said, stepping past him. "I want a life where I don't have to apologize for wanting comfort." She walked away barefoot, her footsteps steady, her back straight. Uche thought that he had managed to convince her to stay, but Ebena had made up her mind. She locked herself in the small room that night, sitting on the cold floor with her back against the wall. The room smelled of dust and old memories. Her bag lay beside her, half packed, half heavy, with the weight of what she was about to abandon. Outside, Uche moved quietly, pretending to be okay, pretending to breathe normally. He replayed her words over and over, choosing the ones that sounded soft, the ones that still carried his name gently. He held on to those and ignored the rest. Ebena did not sleep. She watched the shadows crawl across the wall as the night dragged on. With every passing hour, her resolve hardened. Poverty had taught her one cruel lesson. Waiting was dangerous. Waiting was how dreams died slowly, without noise. At dawn, she stood up and washed her face. Her eyes were swollen, but her decision was clear. She wore her fancy dress, the yellow one that once made Uche smile with pride. She picked up her bag and stepped outside. When she stepped out, Uche was already awake. He sat on the wooden bench outside, holding a cup of cold tea he had not touched. "You're leaving," he said, not as a question. Ebena paused. "Just once." "Yes," he nodded slowly, as though agreeing with something he could not change. "Will you come back?" She did not answer. Not because she didn't hear him, but because any answer would be a lie. She stepped past the doorway, past the life they built with hope and hunger, and into the morning light. Behind her, Uche remained seated, staring at the space where she once stood, still foolishly believing that love, somehow, would call her back. Ebena never turns back. She walked straight into another man's car and drove off. Uche watches in disbelief, tears dropping down his face. She followed the rich man to the city, with a heart full of pictures she had already framed in her mind. Bright lights, soft beds, fancy cars, money, and the lifestyle she once dreamed of. Kelvin had promised her all of it. In the village, he wore clean clothes and spoke with confidence. He talked about business, about connections, about how the city rewards bold women. Beside him, Uche suddenly looked like a mistake she should have corrected earlier, so she followed Kelvin. At first, the city dazzled her. The noise, the tall buildings, the feeling of being anonymous, it felt like freedom. She believed she had finally escaped poverty. She believed she had chosen wisely. But the truth did not take long to knock.